Good morning, everybody. Mr. Faulkner here, just kind of touching base with you about week 2 and our responsibilities for the Angles of Elevation project that will be due on Friday, the 27th. So what I have right now here is the screenshot of just everybody's Google Classroom. They're set up the same way. I'd like to quickly go through the directions for the project. So I'm going to click on classwork, and just like last week, it's going to be organized the same way. The first item is the document, the packet, which is what I'm going to open up in a minute and talk to you about. But I just want to show you that the second item is the question forum. So it says this is a place where students can ask questions and get feedback. Now, don't go back to week 1 with your week 2 questions, obviously. You're going to come to this section here for week 2 questions. Week 2 project, check-in number 1. Week 2 project, check-in number 2. So there's 2 check-ins this week. So what I'd like to do is just go to the first one very quickly. You're going to be measuring the shadows of an object. Now, I know before we were given this time off, I had mentioned to you that you can't use a person, but after a few of us AAG teachers talked, I'm going to use my kids. So I'm going to measure their shadows, outside tomorrow because it's a crummy day. We'll talk about that in a second. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you where things were. So here's the document, here's the question forum, and here are your 2 check-ins. So let's get to the directions. This is the important part, okay? Now, unfortunately, the weather's crummy. So I don't think we're going to be measuring many shadows today in the rain, in the darker weather. So basically what we're going to do today is what I want you all to do is to read through the entire project, get your materials, figure out what you're going to be measuring the shadow for, because tomorrow, Tuesday, and Thursday are supposed to be nice out, so you can get outside and measure your shadows. All right, so real quick, here we go. So the first thing I'd like you to do is take a look here. All right, our objective is to determine the angle of elevation attributed to a shadow at various points in the day. So what are we going to need? You're going to need your object. Like I said, I'm actually going to do 2 graphs. I'm going to measure the shadows of each of my children. So you're going to need a tape measure, a calculator, scientific calculator of some sort, and graph paper, which is included in this document. So, guys, I tried to make the quick ideas bold. So what are we going to do? You're going to take a photo of your object. You're going to measure the height of your object in inches. You're going to collect the length of the shadow. You're going to compute the angle of elevation. You're going to determine the supplement of each angle. You're going to plot those points on a graph, and you're going to answer reflection questions. Now, this should all take you somewhere around 2 hours, at most 2.5 hours. That includes going outside, measuring, and then coming back and recording your data. All right, so spread out over 5 days. It shouldn't take you more than 30-something minutes each day. All righty, so here is what we're going to talk about. All right, if I'm going to measure my one son, he's roughly 50 inches tall. So actually, I'm going to fill in 50 inches down this whole table. You are not going to record these shadows every single day. You're just going to take one measurement at 8 o'clock a.m. on one of the days. I know in the directions it says something like, over a span of 5 days. That just means you're going to fill in each of these boxes once throughout the whole week. Wake up at 8 a.m. Yes, 8 a.m. one time. Try to knock that out of the way. Get that done tomorrow. That's my recommendation. All right? So one shadow in inches at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 a.m., 2 p.m., right, military time, 4 p.m., and 6 p.m. So just fill in this table. All right. Length of the shadow. I know it says round to the nearest quarter of an inch. If you want to just do whole inches, that's totally fine. Angle of elevation. Now that, I want you to head back to here, guys. So look, your object, according to your angle, is always going to be opposite, right? And then your shadow will be on the ground. It will be the horizontal length. So think about that. You'll be using the opposite of the angle. You'll be using the adjacent as well. So I think we should all know, using SOHCAHTOA, you could find that angle of elevation. All right, so I'm just about to wrap it up here, but if you notice, there's a graph provided. Guys, this is a new graph. If your data points don't fit on the old graph, then maybe try to print this one. All right, here's your military time conversions, and then I do think you should check the rubric just to see if you're doing things correctly.